Nate, thank you so much for the time. How you doing today?
Fantastic. How about yourself?
I am doing good, and I'm even better now that I'm getting to talk to you, Nate. For a little bit of a backstory, I was unfamiliar with your comedy until last April when you had a showcase for Moon Tower Comedy Festival here in Austin. I was going to see a friend of a friend, Paul Conyers, who killed it. Uh,
Yeah.
the funniest person that night was the man who was hosting the show. That would be you. You were coming out, you were messing with the crowd, which obviously you do a great job of, and also telling jokes as well. So it's a real pleasure getting to talk to somebody that is pretty new for me, as somebody who is a lifelong lover of stand-up comedy.
Oh man, that's awesome. And that's what this is about, man. Growing my career one person at a time and creating people who love what I do. So that's exciting.
Well, not just that, but giving back to the community too. I mean, you had a bunch of people that most everybody had not heard of that night at Moon Tower, which has become one of the premier comedy festivals in this country, especially with Just for Laughs, at least temporarily, no longer being around. So credit to you as somebody that people may look at as an overnight success. You're one of those decades in the making overnight success stories, but you're making sure that you're hooking up your fellow stand-up comedians in the process.
I'm trying, man. If they throw me a bone, I figure there's enough for me to eat and for some other people to get some exposure. Let's go for it. Because I've been doing comedy for 20 years and I've been funny enough to be a national act, household name, touring act, I would say, for about at least 10 years of that. I've been ready. And so that, but sometimes that's just not the way the cookie crumbles. You know what I mean? Like people are exposed to who they're exposed to at the pace that networks or gatekeepers let them have that exposure. Now we can circumvent that with the power of the internet, which is exactly what happened and why I was able to leapfrog and get to a position where if somebody liked me, it's because they actually liked me, not because somebody told them to or showed them me to say, this is who's next. You can watch me and be like, I like this kid. He should be next. You know what I mean? And so when I had enough heat and tension from the folks, the good folks over that Moon Tower, I was like, let me throw my show called Overlooked. And it's called Overlooked for that reason. Yeah, literally, everybody on that showcase, I'd say 90% of them put in to be in Moon Tower and weren't able to get in, or they put in to be in JFL and they weren't able to get in. Well, then I had overlooked, and people were like, "This was one of the funnier showcases of the whole festival." I'm like, "Yeah, because I know who the savages are out there, and I'm not knocking the talent buyers and talent finders that currently do it, but." Nobody who's investing their entire adult lives into this craft has time to wait on another person like that. So if I can, I try to get the people who were overlooked and give them a second chance to come kill.
That's interesting that you talk about experiencing what I would consider to be the opposite of imposter syndrome, to where you knew you were ready and it was all about waiting for that opportunity. I consider myself in a very similar position in that regard. It is frustrating because you see people passing you up who don't nearly have near the talent that you do. But that's also the name of the game at times. You can't be too jealous about that person for getting that chance. You just have to keep yourself ready when that opportunity hopefully does occur.
Yeah, I mean, there's any number of refrigerator magnet bumper stickers for this exact same thing. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You know, be strong so you don't have to get strong. You know, you control your own destiny, and like there's so many different like things for people that have just been in waiting. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't look at the other person's journey, do your own journey. Don't you are your own competition, but at the end of the day, you do honestly get to a point where it's like, hey, what about me? You don't see me, and I get it's like I'm gonna stay locked in, I'm gonna do this. But if you're just sticking with comedy, if you're hilarious, you don't have a bunch of vices. You don't have a bunch of weird social cues and things that will make people off stage, not want to work with you. You have a strong talent and skill set. You know what I mean? You're a good person and you have great relationships. How long are you supposed to wait in the wings? How much brand new talent do you see get pushed out? How many specials do you watch week after week hit Netflix before you go, hey, I'm not bitter, but I am wondering where in the line am I? And if I'm not in the line where I think I'm at, if I think I should be next, and you think I'm 100 people back, what can I do to show you that I'm next? What are the analytics you're looking for? What is the benchmarks or the what are the telltale signs when you go, this guy's ready, right? Because what I'm seeing after 10 years of not being the one and seeing who it is, I'm like, the people aren't blown away, but specials haven't been special for a while, right? People are watching specials on any of the platform. I mean, I think at this point, Netflix is the closest platform to actually retaining a special being special.
Hmm.
Outside of them, it's like, Amazon Prime has some stuff. I think Hulu has some stuff now. I think, I mean, people are just going to YouTube, like, part of my language, but they're like, I'm going to go. You know what I mean? So if you're telling me I'm not ready and then I watch the thing and I'm like, imagine if you played football and you could run a 4.240. Okay, you are faster than light switches and wind, and you can't get a team, but then people running 4.6s can. What did they dye their hair? Do you know their mom? Who do I need to send in there that you could come clock my 4.2? You know what I mean? Or I'll give it even a different analytic. Let's say you don't run a 4.2, you run the 4.6, and the guys that run the 4.2 because they run a 4.2, that's who automatically goes somewhere. But they're so fast, but their football acumen is low, so they're never where they're supposed to be. They're fast, but they're never where they should be. You're 4.6, but you're Junior Seau. You're everywhere the action is at 4.6. Okay, so then what are the analytics that we look at to say this guy's a benefit to the team, or this guy's a benefit to our network, or this guy's going to garner views, or this guy, you know what I mean? How many shows got to sell out? How big do the venues got to be? How funny does the person have to be? How many laughs per minute? How long do they have to sustain that? How long is the headline set? Do they have to be a headliner? There's a lot of different things that you start to wonder and question when it's not you. When it's, I don't know what that, I know what imposter syndrome is. I don't know what the opposite one is. Hella ready syndrome. You know what I mean? It's like
I've been trying to figure out that term recently because it's something that's been so top of mind for me. There has to be a term or a word for it. I just don't know what it
something.
is.
I called it overlooked, and that's why I just named my showcase that, because I don't know what. And this is the thing. This syndrome that we're now making and defining ourselves, right, is uh it can come hand in hand and paired with delusion. So I want to reserve it for the people who are not delusional and who are actual realists, who are real about themselves, their level of talent, who are doing the work day in, day out, show after show, and seeing that they're doing as good or better work than the people who are getting the opportunity. That is who this syndrome we just made up is reserved for.
I'd
But
maybe
there's
call it
people.
I'd maybe call it grinder syndrome, but people might mistake that for an STD that you got on a dating app. Hey.
This is definitely Austin. Nice rainbow parachute in the background, by the way.
There we go. That's that's my 8-year-old son. I guess he was probably 4 or 5 at the time, playing in a parachute at a bubble festival, which doesn't really change the topic, I guess.
Right.
But you got your start in stand up at Eastern Washington, correct? 20 years ago.
I did. I got dared to do a comedy show, and that's how I started doing comedy right there on the campus.
Why the hell do you guys have a red football field?
Because the school colors are red.
Come on now. It's got to
That's the
be
roof,
something more
baby.
than that, right?
Well, we figure if the field is red, then the other teams can't see that we're killing them. So that's why they were the best team. And I mean, you got to respect Cooper Cup's alma mater, right?
I mean, Cooper Cup, speaking of grinders, that dude is a grinder, and hopefully he's going to be back on the field for the sake of my fantasy football teams this weekend.
Yeah, you guys will be fine.
So you not only do stand up, you are the owner of a comedy club in Tacoma, the Super Funny Comedy Club. People talk about Joe Rogan opening the comedy mothership here, and they say that in part because it's good to have a comedian who has opened a club for comics. Did you open your club with comics in mind? And if so, what were some of the important things that you wanted to make sure that your club encompassed for those who were coming through town performing stand up?
Oh yeah, for sure. The things that make the club unique, right? When you talk about, like, it's used to talk about architecture. Well, I knew I wanted to do a club, so I watched and looked and collected details from different clubs that I liked, right? Like I liked vaulted ceilings rather than the short, shallow ceilings, which there are. Like there's plenty of successful clubs that have shallow ceilings. Like Comedy Store, the front room is that's a low ceiling. Their main room is a vaulted ceiling. The belly room is a low ceiling. You know what I'm saying? The Laugh Factory is a vaulted ceiling. Unless you go upstairs, then it's a short ceiling. So it's just a different feel. Um, and so I always liked that feeling. I measured the stage at the Comedy Store main room, and my stage is the exact same circumference and diameter, and it's just 6 more inches taller because I wanted to fit subs inside of the stage rather than off to the side blowing the guests away. We have two green rooms. There's one green room essentially for headliners and another one for openers, features, or super special guests that you want to allow upstairs, but you still want some privacy before you go over to greet them. The bathroom for the headliners has a shower in it. So if they say they're coming from a workout or they really sweat their ass off during the first show before the second show, they can completely wash up or do it. Or let's just say, they brought some company to town. Uh, they need to freshen up. They can. Um, or even if it's like, where it saw the most use was like if you're doing construction work or you're working, and then you have a show in 2 hours, that's where a shower can be taken so that you're fresh. You know what I mean? Um, so there's that. There's $140,000 sound system. There is
Oh,
$120,000 HVAC. So my club is not hot nor cold. It's the perfect temperature to enjoy a laugh at. Um, so there's that. Those are all the aspects that are really cool things. I mean, we have a state of the art multimedia that we have an LED wall. Like there isn't very many clubs in America that are like the Super Funny Comedy Club, and I'm saying that even if it wasn't mine. But when I say built from the ground up, I mean we were a concrete slab, and so we literally built the club with it was going to be a comedy club the entire time. It wasn't a nightclub that we turned into one. It wasn't an event space that we turned into one. It was comedy club the whole way. Um, yeah, the bar is separate from the showroom. There's plenty of clubs where the bar is in the back of the room and you can hear mojitos getting made during the set, or the bathroom is off of the showroom. So now you can smell urinals because the bathroom is in the showroom. You know what I mean? Or they don't have a restroom for the headliner. So you have to walk through the showroom to use the bathroom with the general public, and you're the star of the show. You know what I mean? And you can't hide. They're like, those are D.L. Hughley shoes. You know what I mean? They can tell who's taking the shit in there. So no, it's from the rooter to the tutor, the front, the back, the top, the bottom. Like the whole thing was built with that in mind. And we were finalizing our construction at the same time that COVID was rolling into the United States. So aside from some finishing items and some things that I thought would be more of a phase two kind of things that have just gotten pushed back, like it's exactly what I had in mind in the first place.
well, congratulations on that. What's the best thing about owning a comedy club, Nate?
Um, there's a lot of different benefits. There is unfortunately some dark side of it too, but benefits, I mean, unlimited stage time. That's one. As a comic, that's one. Two is you can network, and I'll never not be good. I mean, I've put so much money into so many people's pockets to benefit their families, and fed so many families just from sheer bookings and paying talent, that if anyone, I'll be reciprocated to for years to come. You know what I mean? For what I've done in this 5 year period of time. Um, other benefits. I mean, you to build a place that is specific to you and your brand is a really powerful thing. A brick and mortar, it's risky and you have a lot of liability, but it's really like our interior design. There's audio waves on the wall, similar to the artwork behind you, but just imagine it more spaced out. It's the audio waves of my laugh. That's the interior design of the club. So
Oh,
it's
very
like
cool.
crazy personable. You know what I mean? So that that's what I would say is the thing. I mean, I'm going viral personally out of the club once a month doing crowd work joints, and then there's other talent that we're now starting to film there, and so there's a lot of perks to it, but it's your own place. You want to there's the Nate Jackson drink. You know what I mean? Like you want to drink like I drink, you get the Nate Jackson.
What is the Nate Jackson?
It's a beautiful, or some parts of the country call it a French connection, but it's Grand Marnier and Hennessy, at a 1-to-1 ratio with a maraschino cherry in it.
I love that little detail about the digital sound wave being your laugh. That's really cool, and that's a deep cut too, to where you have to really be paying attention and asking the right question, or maybe you have somebody saying it over the PA before they announce that very first comedian, one way or the other. That's a really cool detail for that club.
We don't, but we should. Our pre-show, we've had it like it's not consistent. Like we've had it at times where like the pre-show is immaculate. Like the screen, like the LED thing shows 5 comics that are coming up. The music is bumping, then the lights go out. And there's a whole light show, and then the spotlight hits the stage, and the talent walks out. And then the rest of the room brights up. We've had that. We've also had give it up for your host. You know what I mean? It just depends on like which DJ is working, who knows how to work the system. You know, has our video editor given us an updated set a video for the intro of the show that doesn't show 3 acts that already came and one that's and the one that's you know what I mean? Watching the comic that you're about to see and it's telling you the days that you're sitting in the club is like, wait, what? But that's actually something you have to maintain and keep up on. You know what I mean? You got to keep that video fresh every week. It's got to die because you know, you got to push forward. So yeah, it's challenging, but at the same time, it is rewarding. So boom.
Well, you mentioned the dark side of ownership. What is the worst part about owning a comedy club then?
Rent, no shows, you know, like the hiccups, the customers, um, and this is a new sentence, the customers, comma, investors, comma, staff that are the type of person that rules have to be created around.
Mm.
Right? Like there's a profile of a person that comes into a space, they're mindful of the space, they you can see the general flow of what was intended, and they sit where they're supposed to sit, they do what they're supposed to do, and then they have a good night and then they go. There's another profile of a person that's like, why can I go in this door? Why can I order off of this menu? Where's the this? You know what I mean? Where like that is a psyche, it's a discourse to be like, I'm gonna find out the parameters that this space, you know what I mean? Oh, everybody goes out that door. Why can I go out this door? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stress that lies in that because you're like, all right, new rule. Good God. Okay, new rule. Good. Look, like that's how most of that stuff is defined. Like there's a reason coffee cups say content's hot. Somebody didn't know coffee was hot,
Yeah,
even
the
though they felt
old
it.
lady who had the scalding hot coffee burner her groin, right?
Yeah, but she felt the cup. So I don't know. You
Yeah,
know,
whoever
but
came up with the axiom, the customer is always right, never worked in customer service because the customer is actually mostly wrong, sadly.
like I no BS 90% of the time. Like they're wrong. And I'm coming up to be like, how can I, you know, help this solution? What's the solution to this situation? What's going on? I ordered chicken wings and I was expecting 5 and I was expecting 6 and I only got 5. Um well, it says that it comes with 5 wings on the menu in parentheses. Yeah, but okay. Can we bring another wing out? You
Huh.
know, you know what I mean? You weren't right. You also didn't see the menu, but you know, hey, there's a 2 drink minimum. Why I gotta drink 2 drinks? Because there's a 2 drink minimum. Well, where does it say that? At the door, outside of the building, on the TV when you walk in, on your menu, your server walks up and says it. Your bill says it at the bottom of the bill. When you enter the showroom, it's on the right. Before the show starts, it's in the pre-roll. It's also on the screen. Like, in order for you to miss that, you have to put effort into it. Then there's a page on our website, frequently asked questions. What is the drink minimum? 2. You know what I mean? So, you know, I got a business to run. If you're getting in for, let's say you're getting in for a comp ticket, okay, then it's what you consume while you're there that the business makes money on. If you get in on a fully paid ticket, fine. But if the headliner is the nature where they're getting a portion of the door, then I'm only seeing a minuscule portion of what you just paid to get in anyway. I still got to run my business. My headliner is long gone with all the money. You know what I mean? So please drink and support the business. You know what I mean? Why I got it. Okay, got it. I get this is the type. Can I get one more drink, please? Hey, if you get the 2 drink minimum, I'll give you a third one for free. Oh, well, so why you didn't say that? You was wrong, but I want you happy. You know what I mean?
That's very gracious, gracious attitude of you. The sense of entitlement that people walk around with seems to have gotten worse since COVID to the point where it's not only like people are wrong and they're kind of stupid about how they're wrong. It's like they love to double down on their stupidity at times. Like A good example that I like to talk about, and I apologize if somebody has heard this before, is like you pull up behind somebody at a red light and they're clearly looking down at their phone, and then the light turns green, and you sit there and wait. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi, four Mississippi, five Mississippi, five Mississippi. That's what I give everybody, Nate. And then I give a little honk. And half the time, the person who's distracted by their phone, exactly, they give the middle finger. Just give me
Right,
a courtesy wave. Just give a courtesy wave. I'm sorry. Everybody
right.
gets distracted by their phone at times, but a lot of these jackasses want to give you the finger as a result of trying to get them to move along for everybody else behind them.
Or they don't even do that. They wait until the light turns yellow, then they go
Or that.
strand you at a red.
Or that. So you are well known for your crowd work, but I would assume that a large chunk of the show at ACL Live at the Moody Theater on Saturday is going to be pre-prepared material. Is that true? And are you going to do crowd work considering that you're working in a theater where it's maybe a little bit more difficult to get away with something like that?
No, 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 no. So that's the thing. Like that's the stigma I'm trying to get people to understand and overcome. One, I've been doing comedy 20 years. I didn't start doing crowd work until about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Huh.
Right. And that's just a byproduct of me hosting at my own club so much.
Yeah.
Comics don't like to put their material online because then they can't do it anymore. Well, I saw no benefit in not posting the funny moments that weren't material.
Right.
So let's just post it. And that's what blew up. So then conversely, the audience is like, oh, he just does that. Well, I'm following the trend. I'm like, if that's what y'all are here for, I'll give you that. Right. So at ACL Live at the Moody Theater, what my tour show is it's 80 minutes. And that's just my set. I have 4 openers. So it's a lengthy show. I've been waiting 20 years for people to care enough to want to see me. I'm going to give something in my show is going to get everybody in the room. I don't care who you are. There's spoon-fed punchlines. There's omitted punchlines that come to your mind if you have a decent brain. There's crowd work moments. There's improv. There's interaction. There's. I mean, I might even sing. It just depends. I do. I don't necessarily do set list comedy, right? Like,
Mm.
and that's why I think what I'm doing is a new genre because set list comedy would require a comic to iron all of the kinks out of the perfect set and get it to where night in and night out, that same 45 to an hour is dynamite, right? You walk in at minute 31, they're on the same sentence. That's set list comedy. I do toolbox comedy, right? I open the hood of the vehicle, I listen to see what's wrong with it, then I open my toolbox. And in my toolbox is a plethora of which directions we can go. You want clean jokes, you want dirty jokes, you want singing jokes, you want church jokes, you want crowd work, you want, you know what I mean? You want jokes about the city that we're in, and I'm following the laughs.
Mm.
If I'm like, what is Austin on right now? And that gets a chuckle and doesn't go, then we're gonna move on. But if something opens up people's guttural laughs, then I'm gonna expand in that area. And until and then we move on to it's toolbox comedy. I'm gonna listen to what the crowd is responding to, not even from my own set. I can tell from what's getting the best response from my openers who are doing sets. You know what I mean? I can tell like, okay, this crowd is drunk. Okay, this crowd is, somebody said the word sex and 7 people were like, woo! Like, okay, this is a freaky crowd. You know what I mean? So here we go. You know what I mean? Somebody just said, oh, there's a kid out there in the second row. Okay, well, I'm going to clean it up some. We're not going to go full SpongeBob, but I'm surely going to take out the darker stuff, you know? And so I think that's how I have assured that I get a W. I would say every time I've been on stage the last 15 to 16 years, I win. I don't have a period of my career where it was like, man, that's a L or he was bombing or that. And people will tell you can ask household name comics if they know me, they'll be like, no, he's a beast. You know what I mean? So
That
I want to show that.
Yeah, that adaptability is an important quality in any profession and certainly life as well. Is there a hardest lesson that you've had to learn in your 20 years of doing stand up that helped you get to that point?
You can't take everybody with you.
Hmm.
You can't take everybody with you. You just can't. And if somebody wants to be with you bad enough, then they'll make a way for themselves to be present. But you can't take everybody with you. You can try, but you'll go broke trying to bring everybody along with you. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so that to even hear that and try to apply it to one's life, the way people, you hear that advice from me, or what I would say is a lesson. How you apply it, that could be in different varies applying that as a spectrum, you can be like, I ain't taking nobody, like right now I have 4 openers. I don't know if you are familiar with what that means tour wise, but I have invested in giving a very strong, diverse show with that much of a line. Like I have sacrificed X amount of dollars because the talent pays for everything you see in front of you,
Yep.
whether it's the lights, the sounds, the projector, the host, the opener, the next comic, like every single aspect of that is coming out of my pocket, whether it's an expense or something that I pay for after the fact. So if I say I got 4 openers, then it's telltale that I'm dead ass serious about it being a wonderful experience. You know what I
I
mean?
know
And
that.
there's an eight. I have a BT Kingsley black guy. I got Sue Ra as an Asian female. We have Kanisha Bus, who's she's a female from the Seattle area, lives in LA. Then and also Trenton Cotton, who's from Colorado Springs.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of diversity in the lineup that even comes out before me, and so um yeah, it's the type of show that everybody can enjoy. What I found in the last 3 or 4 months is a lot of people have begun to pigeonhole me, be like, "Oh, he's black, so it's a black show." I'm from Seattle. My show is based on how I've lived life, which is, it's everybody's diverse here, So my show is going to represent that same thing, and we've had packed just uber numbers of people come, and they're like, my God, this is the funniest show I've ever seen. And I'm like, have you ever been to another show though?
Hmm.
Because I'm a realist. Yeah, actually, we have. We just saw X last week, Y the month before, Z last year, and you were funnier than all of them. Well, X, Y, and Z are all like multimillionaire comics, household name. I'm like, that's how hard I'm working on stage. So I want that to be something that comes through in Austin. You got a little taste of that. What you saw of me being funny in Austin at the Moon Tower Festival was me trying not to take the shine and to let the other people shine.
Yeah.
This is about me from beginning to end. This is going to be me going as hard as I can go to make you laugh as hard as you can laugh. Thank you. Good night. That's my point.
Yeah, that was actually the only disappointment that I had at the show that night is like you were getting on stage for maybe 5 or 10 minutes between the comics, but I could tell you had a lot more that you could let rip given the opportunity, but you were trying to make it about everybody else that night too, which
Right.
makes a lot of sense. And but considering how keen you are on that whole adaptability thing, how much of an adjustment has it been going from clubs to these larger venues like what you're going to be playing at the Moody Theater on Saturday?
Right. I mean, you honestly,
Is it just a matter of taking your time a little bit more with what it is that you're doing to let things
it's
read?
not even that. I think like there's a lot of information out there where talent has talked about the difference between a small showroom and a big one. Like you got to slow your cadence and let the sound get from the back to the front and all that kind of stuff. Why? They got speakers in the back. You don't need to wait for it's not a butterfly traveling across the room. 1,500 seats, the back of the room is essentially the same distance into the back of a comedy club. It's just wider. It's just elevated seating. So more people are fitting in this fishbowl thing. There's no table. So everyone is sat theater style. Like we're talking about a room that is about the same size or twice that size. Until you jump up to 4,000 seats, it's still just as intimate, to be honest with you.
Huh.
And also, we have elements in my live show um, with using my onstage camera, so you can see who I'm talking to. We show who I'm talking to on the screen behind me. We use the screen. That's an investment that I made too. If I'm going to be talking to someone, I want everyone in the room to see that person. That's one. Two, cameras are better than the naked human eye. So where I cannot see, I just turn and look at the screen and the camera shows who I'm talking to. So I can interact with and or roast people in the balcony and there's not a beat miss. Like people are like, oh my God, he's getting everyone. Now that's a better capability. I can touch more people in a theater than I can in a club. In a club, I only got the front 3 rows. In a theater, we got the rigmarole to get the whole 15. Hey, get that guy back there in the cowboy hat right there. Boom. My guy zooms in. Yo, what's up with you? You know what I mean? Now I'm having a one-on-one conversation over the heads of 800 people, but you can see the guy on the screen just as big as we are now.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's too many technological advancements to keep the setting feeling intimate. Um, you know, for it not to be. Now I know the outsider looking in is like, oh, he's great in clubs, but I wonder if he can make the jump to the big thing. I'm fine. I'm fine. And my jokes are big jokes. Like you haven't seen, hopefully you come to the show so you can see if I do get into material or if I choose any material to do, they're big jokes. They're like theater sized jokes that, whole theaters yelling out and participating in the punchlines type of big jokes. You know what I mean? If they're not online. I'm not willing to give that stuff up. I want it to be a special. You know what I mean?
So,
So it's good stuff.
challenge time. If you were to bring me up on stage or put me on the big screen and roast me, what would you say?
I say you look like a lesbian shark. And 1010, The Adventures of 1010. That's what I say. You look at a lesbian, a gay shark, and I'll be like, da-da, 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 bitch. Yes. Oh my God. But your name would still be Jaws. How gay is that for a shark name? It's still Jaws.
Oh gosh. All right, last question now, Nate. I love stand up. You clearly love stand up. What do you love about stand up comedy?
Now, honestly, bringing people the joy and the laughters, people coming up to me. I literally interact with everybody. I'm in the lobby from doors open till about 15 minutes before I go on stage. I'm interacting with people. Nobody's ever done it like that. I'm in the lobby with lines of people selling merch, saying hello, touching and talking to the people. And people come up to me and they say, man, you got me through a really dark time in my life, or I lost my this, or I lost my that person that was close to me. I was spiraling. I didn't know what to do. And then I came across your videos and you added joy and laughter and, uplift to my life. And that's what it's about. Also the food. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of good food out there. I'm coming to Austin. I can't wait to go to Style Switch Barbecue. I'm not even going to hold you. They got a beef rib over there that's good. I'll slap somebody's grandma. I'm coming to get it.
Oh,
So yeah, the
my
food.
family goes to Style Switch weekly. Yeah, that beef rib is delicious. I don't know if you're probably going to go into the Austin location, so you may not have access to this. They do this cheesy tater tot casserole up where I am, which is out of this world good too. But yeah, Style Switch
Where are
all over
you at?
the place.
Where's this? Where's the tater tots?
Cedar Park, the
All
Cedar
right.
Park Style Switch.
I might have two stops to make. I didn't even know there was more than one location.
Yeah, they've got the one in Austin and the one up in Cedar Park. They have another store too that's in Dripping Springs, just called the Switch. But yeah, the two Style Switch are Austin and Cedar Park. Go to the Cedar Park location, tell them Trey said hello, and
Yeah.
get that cheesy tater tot casserole. Tell them to put it on my tab, and I'll pay for it too, for that matter.
How far is Cedar Park from the other location, Austin?
From the other location, it's about 15 minutes or so.
Okay, so it's a
In the
commitment, but we can
suburbs,
get
but
it done.
Austin is much smaller than like an LA or a Dallas or something like that.
Right, and that therein lies my I would say concern because the majority of my shows, I would say 85 to 90% of my shows this entire year have been sold out at the theaters. Like we've done a really good adjustment to going up to the next level. And then 2023, nobody sold more tickets in comedy clubs than me. So we're really just taking the 2023 audience and putting them in one show in one city at a time. But Austin is smaller, but it's doing big city numbers. Like apparently it's Formula One racing along with number one playing number four on the same block
Yeah.
as my show. Like behind where I'm at is 200,000 people coming to town. They said hotels were $2,700 and $1,700 a night right now.
Yeah.
So I think I'm staying in Cedar Springs just to get
So
out of
you're staying
downtown.
you're staying in Cedar Park?
I'm saying somewhere we're 15, 20 minutes outside of Austin, downtown Austin, because the hotels are that high because of F1.
I'll check with your management. If you're I'll send them the location of the place. If you're in Cedar Park, it'll be an easy trip for you. And we got
Outstanding.
really good pimento cheese sausage of the month right now too. Yeah, dude, Style Switch in terms of Austin barbecue places, it gets a lot of love locally. It doesn't get enough love nationally though. So I'm glad to hear that you're on that one though.
Yeah. And so when you ask me perks to going on the road, the food is definitely one of them. Relationships, it's not often that one gets to actually, I'll use the word water, put to water all your distant relationships. If you're like you may have a friend in Minnesota, you're like, man, I love that guy, but when am I going to be in Minneapolis? Well, if I'm going there once or twice a year, then I get to have lunch with that guy. I get to actually check on how's your family? How are the kids? Is everything going? You know what I mean? So I have a lot of relationships that would, they're outside of the average human. They say is you get 6, maybe 7. That's why MySpace shows top 6, top 5, because that's really what the average in their community. That's what the average person. Well, not me. I got frat brothers friends. I got college friends, high school friends. I got friends all over the place because I actually physically can sit down and see them. And so that's another perk as well.
Oh yeah, he is Nate Jackson. So funny as a stand-up comedian. There aren't a ton of seats left to the ACL Live at the
It
Moody.
sounds like you're wrapping up. We're about to talk for 2 hours from right now. How's your family? No, I'm just playing. I can't wait.
Let's fucking go, Nate.
It's
I'll
like
continue this conversation. I've already taken you 10 minutes longer than I was supposed to.
Yeah, I'm coming, man. Austin, pull up on your boy. Maybe you watch the game, then you come see me. Maybe you come see me, then you go watch some cars zooming by. Maybe you don't care about cars or football. You just want to laugh. I'm your guy. If you're tired of going to shows and not laughing like you thought you were going to, or if you love going to shows and laughing harder than you normally do, I'm where you need to be. Super Funny Comedy Tour coming live to you at ACL Live at the Moody Theater.
Well, Nate, thank you again for the time, man. This has been a real joy.
My pleasure.
You're still watching or listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or elsewhere. Would greatly appreciate you subscribing to this show, and please do like today's episode. Thanks to Gentleman Jesus for the intro and outro music. Hear more of his work at gentlemanjesus.com. Thanks to you for hanging out. For more of the show and to connect on social media, visit booksonpod.com. We'll talk to you next time. Books on Pod.